We are building our offensive playbook, and it's time to throw the football.
We're not going to get a second chance in the game.
We are in the middle of building our offensive playbook, and it is time to throw the football. Now, coaches can get themselves into trouble when it comes to throwing the football, but mostly because they might. I don't want to accuse anyone of anything. I've made a lot of mistakes in my coaching career, but it is pretty common for coaches to assume that their kids can do more than they can. The guys on TV make throwing the football look pretty easy. It's actually awfully difficult to do. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it is difficult. Now, before we jump into this, I've got to give a shout out to our 3 new members. Thank you, James, Sam, and Ty, for your support. And we did actually add our final membership tier this week, which is for our most recent productions, 2024 and 2025. Those full-length presentations will be available for those members. But never fear, we do release minimum 1 new video a week from our library over onto our free content. So we're committed to continuing to serve you guys here and be a great resource for you as coaches, whether you're a new guy or you've been in it for 30 years. Back to the presentation. Today we are adding our passing game. Now let's get into our playbook here. If you remember from week 1 in building our playbook, we had our zones. We had to be able to attack inside, off tackle, and outside, both directions. So your first thought might be, hey, well, now we need to address and be able to attack each throwing zone. Well, you don't have to. You can. There are guys out there that are very good at throwing the ball, and their offense really, I won't say revolves around, but the passing game is a bigger part of their offense. This video is for newer coaches, guys that are either coaching for the first time at a tiny school or are coaching for the first time at a youth program. You don't need to attack every zone when it comes to throwing the football. I do believe that it is going to benefit you to be very realistic about how difficult it is to throw the ball, how difficult it is to catch the ball in a game, and how difficult it is to pass protect. Those 3 things, they're not easy to do, and doing all 3 of them right on one play, well, of course, it's even harder. So for the sake of this video, let's not think about passing and attacking every zone. Instead, what we're thinking about is complementing our run game to keep that alive. So we're going to do like a level 1 passing and level 2. Now, assuming that passing goes up to, say, level 10, right? We're just going level 1 and level 2. I really believe that this is plenty for you to win a lot of football games. I mean, win all of your football games at the youth level and even at the high school level. If you run the ball well, this is enough. So we'll just jump in, and when you agree with me, or I'm sorry, if you disagree with me, you can always leave comments below. Because as it turns out, that actually helps our videos a lot to have conversations. So I should just allow you guys to disagree and embrace that many will disagree with me. So instead of thinking, how do I attack every zone through the passing game, I want to think, how do I keep my running game alive? So we're going to start with what is probably the most lethal passing play at any level, and that is boot or waggle. And boot is just where you fake your best run play. Let's say we're going to fake our best run play to my left. Then we're going to boot out. The quarterback's going to run opposite of that after the handoff fake to the opposite direction, right? So we're going to fake running to my left, but we're actually going to attack the passing game to our right. Okay, so this is a great way to complement. So this video is not how do I run these plays, how do I block them. So I'm going to try hard to get myself to buzz through that part and just say, what do we need as we're building our passing attack? Because when it comes to coaching the details, there's lots of videos available to help you research how to coach the details, and lots of great coaches out there that you can reach out to ask them, hey, how do you block waggle? How do you block boot? All right, well, the premise of waggle is our best play in the last one is power. Our fullback's coming this way, and our halfback is attacking. We said we're going to take a play side step and come downhill. We're going to have our quarterback reverse out, and he's going to turn his back to the defense, and he's going to come back here and reach that ball to our halfback, right? So that's power. So we want to complement power. So he's going to reach that ball out and then immediately boot the other way. Now what you'll find, let me redraw this path more realistically. More realistically, the quarterback will reverse out and he will run into this halfback somewhere around 4 to 5 yards, and now he needs to boot. And we like to make sure he gets at least 7 yards deep. You want depth because you will have to worry about this defensive end from the backside. Now, the better you are at counter, the better the defense is, the more involved in the run game this man gets. So you do need to run the ball enough that this man isn't just teeing off and sprinting upfield. If you notice, and this is why having a coaching staff is important when you're calling a game this year, if you're a youth football coach, ask your best coach, hey, I need you to watch that. This is called the backside D end. Watch him. If he's sprinting straight upfield, or this outside linebacker, whoever it is, are they sprinting straight upfield? If they are sprinting straight upfield, boot is not a good play call. You're not going to be able to use it right now. So instead, you'd need counter, right? Because sprinting upfield actually makes it easier to run counter. So that's why these things work together. So you need to have a guy with eyes on him. As long as they're not sprinting upfield and they're kind of coming inside at all to honor your run game because you're good at it, now you can run boot. Okay, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on how to block it. Let's just go down block, and he's going to give a nice big pull here, and he wants to try to log that man inside. And for the rest of these minutes, we're just going to go mammo, man away, man on, man away, man on, man away, man on. Okay, now pass game. What do we want to do? Lovingly, affectionately, we've called this a Gator 7. Gator 7. But for the most part, you need to run this man vertical. He needs to go deep. So you've got some options. You're really not looking for him. Now, we do tell our quarterback, read high to low, but he's not usually the man that's going to be open. You need this X receiver to go deep, right? So on Waggle, you're trying to attack 3 levels. One really deep, one at about 10 yards, and then you have a guy at about 1 to 2 yards. So this is your deep man. You could have him go deep. You could have him run a post corner. He goes to the post, and then he breaks back off to the corner. Or you have them run what we call a Gator 7, which really we try to make it look like you're just running towards that safety like you always do on a run play away from you, and then you snap it off and you head here to the corner. Either way, you got to get this guy to go deep. He's your vertical threat. So I'm going to erase all these lines here and replace it with one route. So we'll just go with this little post corner. So he's deep. Now, this is your man you're really looking for. You're really looking for this tight end here at about 10 yards. He is dragging across the field, and you want him to get to 10. Now, a lot of coaches like to have this fullback leaking out into the flat, and it is nice to have him at about 1 to 2 yards. I drew it like right behind the line of scrimmage. He should be, we teach our kid 2 yards or below. But to run a true boot off your power play, it's probably going to be a more effective play if your number one goal is to make them honor power. You're going to want to fake power. And then this tight end really is who you're looking for. Now, your other receiver is going to run what they call a backside post. And I've coached at the high school level for my whole career, and I tell my quarterback, do not throw the backside post. We have other things, maybe we'll get to that in level 2 passing, but we have other ways where we attack that if we like that route. But when we run boot, do not throw the backside post. We want to read it as we teach it, high to low. If he's open, which he rarely is, throw it. Then you're going to look for this dragger. The dragger really is who we want. And then if you're running a route concept where your fullback gets out there, that's kind of your check down in emergency. Now, the key to running a good boot to 7, and then make sure or work hard at getting this quarterback to coming back downhill. He's running at his target, because this running at you and throwing is an easier throw than running this way and throwing back here. That can be a tough throw. And again, you're coaching youth football or a small football team. You don't have Brett Favre out there. At least the odds are high that you don't. So we want to create a throw that is easier to make. consistently. So having boot in your playbook, this is priority number one for level 1 passing. Priority 1, I need boot. And I can run boot like crazy. I've had many football games where boot was the only pass play I ran, and it does its job. It helps keep your run game open, and that's our priority. Now, I will finish what I'll call level 1 passing with adding a little bit of quick game. Now, quick game means I am not reading anything as a quarterback. I am just dropping back quickly, known as a 3-step drop, and I'm throwing. I'm 3 steps and throw. So my feet look like this. Drop step, crossover, plant, throw. Okay? Open, crossover, plant, throw. It fast. For level 1 passing, we're just going to build a wall. Everyone is responsible for their gap inside, gap inside, gap inside. I take my fullback, and he's responsible off the tackle's hip to the right, and the halfback is responsible off the tackle's hip to the left. Now, you will have to work with those kids on attacking the line of scrimmage because they'll want to just take 1 step and wait. Well, if they do that, they're in your quarterback's way. So they need to attack the line of scrimmage. This is the simplest pass pro that there is and will allow you to get your quick game off. And I know that because I've seen very good high school football teams run this simple pass pro for their quick game, and it works. Now, I worked with a really good high school football coach, coaching 6 championship football games, state championship football games, Scott Hamilton, and he said you really only need to carry either out, hitch, or slant. You don't need all 3. Carry one of them. Again, if you disagree, leave a comment below. But I'm taking Scott's word for it. I was a believer in just carrying hitch before that, and once I worked with Scott, now I'm convinced forever. If it's good for Scott, it's good for me. Hitch. We teach it 6 back to 5. We want to attack to 6 yards, drop our hips hard, and step back towards our quarterback. Our quarterback does not wait to throw the ball. He's not looking for the receiver to turn around. He's on rhythm. Open, crossover, plant, throw to that spot at 5 yards. We're going to mirror these routes, 6 back to 5, and our tight end just releases vertical. Our quarterback's just going to come up, and he's going to decide pre-snap which way he's throwing it. Which one does he like, left or right? 1, 2, 3, throw. 1, 2, 3, throw. On rhythm, this is our quick game. All we're trying to do, the reason we want to carry quick game is because we want these 2 outside linebackers to not be able to get away with playing too close to the line. If we don't throw the ball out there at all, now these outside linebackers can become even nosier, right? They can take this D in, bring him in, he's in tight, everybody just comes in tight, and this gets even more difficult to throw the ball on. If you can throw the hitch well, now listen, you still have to practice this like crazy. I understand this is very simple. This is as simple as it gets, drawing up a pass play. But if you want to be good at it, you have to practice this a lot. And if you got a decent athlete out there at all, this is a good pass play. You got a good athlete out there, get him the ball on a hitch. He can make things happen. If the opposing team knows that you'll throw hitch and you're pretty good at it, well, then these outside linebackers have to play with a little bit of width because they need to be ready. They got to go help. Otherwise, they're just leaving this man on an island out there. So hopefully they're not going to leave him on an island. They're leaving these outside linebackers with a little bit of width, and that helps keep your running game open. So that's why you carry hitch. Now, the next thing you want to carry, same steps, 1, 2, 3, throw, is you want to carry a fade. Now, I teach the fade like this. I want to attack 2 to 3 steps. I want my kid to be on rhythm, plant the foot, and now fade to the sideline. I want to leave space here on the side between me and the sideline because that's the space I really want my quarterback to throw the ball in. So I'm attacking here to the left side of the space I want, and I want the quarterback to put the ball here in that open space, and we want to throw that ball about 17 to 20 yards. Now, hopefully, my corner is on the inside hip. It goes corner, me, space I'm throwing to. That's the goal. I have to rep this like crazy. But now if the defense knows that I can run fade and I'm decent at it, or I will run fade, well, now my corner can only play so close to take away hitch. He has to stay off because he's probably more worried about fade. So I've held him accountable to playing off enough to cover fade, and I've held him accountable to playing off enough to help on hitch. And I can run these two pass plays when I either need them, or maybe I've got a second and short and I feel like this is a good time to kind of take a shot. Or maybe that kid you have out there is an incredible athlete and you feel like you need to get it to him. You're going to give it 10 shots a game. And you might even track it. Hey, 3 times per quarter, we want to give Joey a quick game shot. We need to get it to him because he's really stinking good. That right there is level 1 passing. If you're coaching 8-year-olds or below, there's no chance that I would run anything more than this to start my season. This is my playbook. That is all I need. Shoot, if I'm coaching 12-year-olds and below, this might be all I carry. This is what I need to have ready. That's level 1 passing. But let's take a moment and go level 2. Maybe you have a little bit better athletes, or maybe you're coaching 8th graders, or maybe you're even a high school coach in his first year, and you got some athletes, right? Like this high school football, you can do a little bit more. Let's go to level 2. Again, assuming that there are 10 levels to passing, there's more to go, but this is enough to win a lot of football games, even into the high school level. All right, so we're ready for level 2 passing. Now, I'm not going to drop a whole lot of plays for level 2 passing, just a couple, but they're enough to take kind of that next step with your passing game. And to go with the next step in your passing game, you're going to need pass protection. Okay, so pass protection can be tough, and you need to really spend time coaching it. But let's look at an actual realistic passing protection that can be used on into pretty high levels of football. First of all, on the left side, we're just going to teach it to one side. On the left side, our rules will be big on big. Big on big. I'm the offensive tackle. I'm a big body. I'm responsible for the big body on me, which is the D lineman on me. Okay, so I'm big on big. This is my man. I have to block him. The guard is responsible for the second man, the other big body. The right side of my protection is on a slide protection. They're going to slide away from the ball. So slide right. I'm responsible for the gap to the right. I'm responsible for the gap to the right. Everybody's responsible, gap right. Now my center is kind of on an if. If this is an even front, and we like to call out even or odd on every run play anyway, so this should be a habit for us. If it's an even front, I join the slide side. I'm responsible, gap right. Gap right, gap right, gap right, gap right. If it happens to be an odd front, let's move a man down here, then I join the left side. I'm responsible for big on big as well, which means I would block the nose. Okay, so our center has to know the difference between even or odd, whether his job is to join the slide side or the man side. Either way, now we have ourselves the starts of an actual pass protection. Let's put this side as an even front, so we're going to put our center on slide protection. And now our fullback is responsible to the big on big side, gets up into there, and he is responsible for a blitzing linebacker. Inside backer first, outside blitzer, I should say, second. Right, so he's looking inside to out for a blitzer. He's going to fill into that line looking for a blitzer opposite of wherever that D tackle goes, and he's looking to fill in inside blitzer versus outside blitzer. If there's no blitzer, get up into the line of scrimmage and fill some space. Okay, so our fullback is responsible there to that left side. And, of course, behind it, we would really like to have our play action. Quarterback is going to reverse out and give play action, and instead of booting out, he's going to set up right here in the pocket. Okay, so when we throw boot, our quarterback is getting out of the pocket, and our protection mirrors that or reflects that. In this, our quarterback's setting up right here, so our protection should kind of look like this little arc. We're creating that little pocket for our quarterback. Now, in creating this pocket for our quarterback, there's one play that will help your run game, help keep your run game open. Or now that we have this protection, there are two plays that I consider musts. One is kind of that first down, that chain mover. When we need that first down, we need that 10-yard chunk, we got it. And the other is our opportunity to go deep. So let's start with our chain mover. This is the best chain mover I know of that has been very good to us in the past. You're going to run your best run play right here at the tight end side. Your quarterback's going to fake and set up right here in the pocket. Now, hopefully when I fake my very best run play, if I've done my job, we're good enough at it that this linebacker right here has to come up to help. I mean, if the number one linebacker at the point of attack isn't flying up here to attack, then we're probably not very good at this play, right? So if I've done my job, we're good at this play, and this linebacker has to fly up to help. Okay, so when he flies up to help, there's a little window of space right here behind him. Usually safeties will stay off. Okay, so the safety stays off. We're going to have our tight end release right here, straight ahead, 10 yards, and sit it down. Now, the tight end might shuffle inside. Okay, and we'll get to that in just a second. Now, we're going to give our other guys routes, but we're not throwing to them. We'll run a post over the top of it, and on the backside, we'll just run a little out or a hitch, whatever you've decided to run in your quick game. When our quarterback gives this fake and then sets his feet, the tight end should just be coming open. He's going to turn around, and if he sees that man open, he throws the ball. Throw it now. If he's open, throw. If you turn around and this linebacker somehow has sniffed it out and he's right underneath it, then that is when the tight end will shuffle inside. So if I turn around, he's open, boom, throw it. If I turn around and there's that linebacker's in the way, I know my guy's going to shuffle inside, then I'll throw it. All right, so you want to make sure you've practiced both. If I turn around and the safety is here and I can't, and he shuffles and he's not open, then I, as the quarterback, simply run. And I want to run straight ahead. We want to practice running straight ahead. The pocket, again, is built like this. There's not space outside. Straight ahead. A good athlete sometimes will find his way through, and if he doesn't find his way through, you're going to take the sack and lose 5 yards, and you live to fight another down. Now, the reason you do not want this quarterback reading the safety is because, well, 2 reasons. One, he's very young, right? If we're talking youth football or a very small high school, this may not be a kid who is ready to throw the ball at a high level and make reads. The second reason you don't want to read it is because he's not just dropping back and can't get his eyes on this safety right away. He's got his back turned. We've got our back turned, and we are attacking and trying to give a really good fake, right? So we don't have a lot of time. We're just going to turn around. We need to be ready to throw now. So it's very difficult to turn around and read right now. That's hard. We want to turn around and throw. Well, now that we have that play, that brings up my second play that I would carry and where I want to take a shot. I want to try to go deep because one of 2 things is happening. Either we've run this play here to our tight end quite a bit already, and we have noticed that this safety is really getting nosy on it, or we're really good at running power right now, and because we're running power so well, the safety has, as soon as we snap the ball and our quarterback turns around, this safety's way down in the mix, right? Which means that there is a large open space in the middle of the field. So we want to attack that. So our tight end, we will put our tight end here on this same route, or you could, if you notice that this safety is getting super nosy, make a max protect call and just keep the tight end in to protect. So now I just get an extra man blocking. So I know this throw is going to get off. And now we're going to tag it to either our Z or our X. And I would tag it based on which kid is better. You probably know which of these 2 kids is better. But you might carry both in your playbook. You could throw it to the Z or the X. But you're going to tag it so that the receivers know which one of them is going to run a post and which one needs to stay away from the post area. So in this example, we're going to run the post to our Z. So we want to teach it. He wants to go to about 8 yards, make a hard bucket step, which means I'm going to take that outside foot and step it in a 5-gallon bucket. So it's a big step to the outside. Big, strong step to the outside. And then bang, now I'm going to run to this post. and we want our quarterback to get used to setting his feet and letting it ride, right? So what does your quarterback have in the tank as far as the throwing arm? You've got to time that up with your receiver's route. If your quarterback, you find, can only throw it about 30 yards, then your receiver might need to take more of an outside attack before he can run to the post, because you've got to time it up to what your quarterback can throw. If your quarterback can really let it ride, then you might be able to just let this Z run to this spot. So whatever you got to do, but you've got to time it up so that your quarterback can really just throw to a spot and get good at throwing to that center of the field, and your receiver should be there at about the same time. Now, I do want to point out that this is not a good play to run in like 3rd and 30. You would want to run this in a situation where they're expecting you to run. If you were to run this in 3rd and 30 or the last play of the half, well, the safety is going to be there. Right? It's the last play of the half. I'm not coming down to stop a 3-yard run. I'm staying back here 20 yards deep, right? So now that play is going to get picked off. Or if you're a high school coach and you're running this in the summertime, it'll never be open in the summer. It'll never be open because the safety will never bite on anything down low. I guess unless you ran your little 10-yard hitch 5 times in a row, then it'll be open because the safety will be down here. Right? But that's the idea, is that this is for a situation where they're expecting run, or you've run this 10-yard hitch so well that they are all over this tight end. Then it'll be open. We're trying to get it over that safety's head. So that's it. Level 2 passing brings in just 2 more passing plays, but they are 2 pretty big-time plays that really can keep your running game open. Hope you liked it. What would you run next? Leave that comment below. Hey, thumbs up, subscribe, do all those things. We appreciate the help, and we'll see you right back here next week to keep talking ball.